Hello and welcome to another TB3 special edition. Thank you guys for being here. I'm here with Will. I'm not here with Joel. If you guys didn't know, Joel is not going to be here for the next couple of weeks. He's in Africa. We put him on a crate with Pete Fairbanks, and we made sure Pete got over to Africa where he belongs.
They're going to have some training sessions.
Yep.
We're going to get Pete's arm right.
Mm-hmm.
Teach him how to throw a strike again.
We're gonna
no distractions.
We're
That's
gonna
why it's
put him in front of a lion and see if he still has the yips after that. In all seriousness, Joel is actually going to Africa. He's going on a missions trip, so he's going to be gone for a couple weeks. And right now it's just me and Will because this is an important episode, and we didn't want to have anyone but mainstay TB3 members because this is a Lightning first round playoff preview TB3 special edition. And man, the Lightning faced a familiar foe, a team they played twice in recent memory and beat. Little brother, the team from down south, the Florida Panthers. Well, what's our initial thoughts here?
I'm excited because think the biggest thing going into this series is you have to remember this is still little brother. Doesn't matter about who won the season series or how they did in the last postseason. They have forever have been our little brother since we came to the league. And I think if you have that confidence going in, I feel pretty good. If the boys got that same confidence as me, we're money.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, this is a team full of champions. We know that. We have Nikita Kucherov, who made history this week. Just while we wrap up the regular season, just real quick. Nikita Kucherov was the 5th player in NHL history to have 100 assists in a regular season. That is a monumental achievement. Kuch for MVP, no doubt about it. Just an incredible season from him, and really an incredible last couple months for the Lightning. They got really hot towards the end of the season, and they turned around a meh first few months, I'll say, of the season, and they really do look as dangerous as they've looked all year right now. So it's a good way to go into the playoffs.
I completely agree. I think, with every NHL season, there's always going to be ups and downs because I feel like I've said this. I think at the start of the year when we first covered the Lightning, is the season's like 3 parts. You got October through December. That's kind of getting back to hockey shape and kind of gelling with your new teammates. Then you got January to March or January to April. That's when it starts heating up. You got to start getting ready for the playoffs. You get some new bodies to help you out in the trade deadline. And then you have the last part of the season, which is the playoffs. It's a season of itself. It's a totally different brand of hockey. You have to be mentally and physically tough to get through about 2 months of just straight hockey almost every other day. So it's 3 seasons in one. There's been up and downs, but I think how we've seen them grow is very huge. I think you look back after the All-Star break where it didn't look so good, and what they're able to do with some of their additions like Dumba and Duclair, and just how they instantly were an impact on the offense and defensive sides of the ice. This was a really, really good year to see this team grow and to see some of the same faces just be who they are, just be dogs and the stars that we know and love.
Yeah, I'm excited not only for the Lightning Renaissance and what they could do in this playoffs, but I'm just excited to cover the NHL playoffs. If you guys don't know, we started in late July last year, so we missed all of the NHL playoffs with TB3. It's our first time, and I think the NHL has the best professional playoffs. Would you agree?
They definitely do.
I think so.
They definitely do. I find myself, even with the NFL, like if it's not the Bucks and it's like one of those wild card games, I might be doing something else. As much as I love football, and with the NBA, I didn't watch a single play-in game, unfortunately. But the NHL, man, I'm watching all 4 games a day. I am, especially the 10 o'clock games. You get some of those West Coast teams, see who the Lightning might face in the end. You never know. I think it's the best.
Yeah, and if you are new to hockey, maybe you're a Bucks fan or you're a Rays fan and you're trying to tune in for the Lightning playoffs, just know that NHL playoff hockey, there's nothing like it. There's something special about it. There's just so much stakes. It's so intense. next goal wins. Sometimes it goes on for hours, it seems like. I mean, what was that game last year? 4 extra overtimes? What, Panthers Hurricanes? You remember that game?
Yeah, well, I'm thinking
And then
2020 with the Blue Jackets.
What was that, 7?
Think it was, dude.
I think it was
7 or 8.
I think it was 7.
Yeah,
But,
7 overtimes.
yeah.
That's just insane.
That is insane. And then sometimes it goes on for a few minutes, and a lightning strike happens early on. So there's nothing like it. If you're new to hockey, just be ready. It's something special. Really enjoy these playoffs because they really are, in my opinion and Will's opinion, the best professional playoff system. So getting into that, the Lightning ended up facing the Florida Panthers, who are first in the Atlantic Division. They are going to play the Lightning, who ended up finishing their season off with a win against the Maple Leafs, and that made them 49, 29, and 8 to finish the season. Like we said, the Lightning hovered around or below 500 for a lot of the season, so they ended up getting above that 500 mark. They couldn't win a single game in overtime, it seemed like, early on. They started to win those. The overtime losses looked less and less bad, and it was a good end of the season. But the Florida Panthers are definitely a juggernaut and not a foe to be taken lightly, even if we have some favorable history against them. So, yeah, what do you got, Will?
Yeah, I just think 45, 29, and 8 is pretty crazy because that's a very good record in the NHL. It's an 82-game season. And they were the first wild card. There were 3 better teams than them in their own division, and you can just kind of see this is still tough. We're pretty high in the Lightning, but this is still tough because I think this year, more than any other year in the NHL, just about everybody was neck and neck. I mean, we even talked about it this week before the playoffs. The Lightning still had a chance to get that 3rd spot in their division. They're only a couple points out of it. So you just see how close it all was.
Yeah, I mean, completely agree. There was, towards the tail end of the season, there were, I think, 7, maybe 8 teams in play for the President's Trophy, which, if you don't know, is the highest point total in the league. And there was a bunch of teams in play for it. There's a lot of parity in the NHL, a bunch of really good teams, some up-and-coming teams that we haven't seen up there, and then some teams that have been up there for a while, like the Bruins, the Panthers, even the Rangers have been up there for a couple years. But a lot of different teams in the mix. The Canucks are up there. The Jets are up there, I think, too, in the Western Conference.
Yeah, the Jets are up there for the first time in a while.
Yeah. It's interesting, man. That's my go-to Chell team. I loved using the Jets. They had these like slick alternates, like light blue with the cursive Jets on it. I use them all the time. That was my go-to Chell team.
You know, like using the old Thrashers?
No, every once in a while I would for sure. But then you could use the Jets when you play with the Coyotes because they mix.
Yeah, that was weird too. They had no longer the Coyotes.
Man, rest in peace, Arizona and Phoenix Coyotes. That's a sad story. I feel bad. Man. That just sucks. And it's something that really is close to all of our hearts because it could happen one day with the Rays. Hopefully not, but it could. So we can't do that.
We have like a secret rule that we've never talked about where we have to bring up the Rays in every episode, even if the Rays have nothing to do.
Well, this situation. All right, just rest in peace, Phoenix Coyotes. We feel bad, and Arizona Coyotes feel real bad.
They're gonna be the Utah hockey team.
Yeah, the Utah Yetis.
That would be sick. Mm-hmm. I've heard that they might just stick with like hockey club for this season.
That sucks. Come on. But they don't have enough history to do that. Even at least the Washington had some history that it felt like okay to do that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, anyways,
they want to leave all the Arizona stuff behind. Like they want.
No,
to
I know they're not.
Yeah,
I know they're not going to be Coyotes. I saw that. So I don't know. It's a crazy situation. Maybe we'll do a YouTube video about it or something. But yes, in the regular season, the Lightning and the Panthers played 3 times. The Panthers won this overall series 2-1. The first game happened on December 27th. It was a 3-2 Panthers win. In this game, the Florida Panthers outshot the Lightning 31-29, so pretty even. But the thing that really hurt the Lightning in this game was they had 11 giveaways, and the Panthers were able to capitalize. Both teams were 0 for 3 on the power play, so it really just came down to those giveaways and loose puck control for the Lightning, and this would end up being a Panthers 3-2 win. You got to remember that was maybe Vazzy was back by then. I don't know. Hold up.
Which game?
December 27th.
I will look right. We'll get our stats guy on it.
Because, yeah, I should have looked at that. Hold up. We're quick. We got this.
I want to say he was definitely back. Let's see.
Yes, it was Andrei Vasilevsky. 28 saves on 31 shots. So, yeah, giveaways were a big deal. Lightning had not their full team that they have now, but plenty of good players. Close game, hard-fought battle. Panthers win this one. Then the next game was not a hard-fought battle. This was on the February 17th. The Panthers smoked the Lightning. It was a 9-2 victory for the Panthers. Vazzy got pulled. He allowed 6 goals on 22 shots. Not a great game for him. And the Panthers were 3 for 4 on the power play. About everything went wrong for the Lightning in this game. I think they scored the first goal, and then they gave up about 7 or 8 consecutive goals to the Panthers. Just a brutal showing. This was kind of towards the lowest point of the season before the trade deadline. This was in the weeks where it was just looking bad for the Lightning. They just were in a rut. Some players went down. Some just bad play all around, and this game really punctuated it. You just did not want to see the Lightning lose like this to your rival, but they did.
We like to think it was a fluke, though.
I think it was a fluke.
I think we were calling fluke back in the day when we covered that.
Yeah,
game.
for sure. I mean, 7 goals, no matter how bad a team is a fluke. You're not getting 7-goal hockey victories very much. So I think it was like the top 7 goals is like tied for like the 6th biggest goal differential in the game ever or something like that. Anyways, fluky game. And then we move on to Game 3. This was the lone Lightning win. This was on March 16th, so also the most recent game. And this was a 5-3 Lightning win in Florida. The Lightning did not have a great game. They ended up being outshot in this game 50-16. Andrei Vasilevsky had 47 saves in this game. Just a great game for the Big Cat. Both teams were 1 for 7 on the power play in this game. A lot of action in this game. The Lightning actually went out to a 4-0 lead, and then they ended up having to hang on for their dear lives in the third period, but they got it done. This was their lone win.
And the second 2 periods, they're outshot 38-5 in Florida's advantage.
Yeah, so this was not the prettiest Lightning win, but it was a Lightning win regardless. And honestly, as we look at how the season series is going to translate into this series, I think there's a lot to take away from this game. And I think the Florida Panthers have a really, really good hockey team. They have, elite level talent at a lot of positions. The forwards, the defensemen, the centers, all of them, elite level talent. There's going to have to be times where the Lightning are just going to have to hang on. There's going to be flurries from the Panthers. And how the Lightning are able to respond, how the Lightning are able to punch back is going to be the key of this game. And I think there's a lot we can take away from this Game 3 that we can, translate into the playoffs.
You're saying what can translate from that?
I think there is, and I think what can translate is I think Vazzy has to be special in this series. I really do, and we've seen him be special against his team, but I think he has to be special. I don't know what you think.
Yeah, I think Vazzy is always the key. If he's playing like his normal self, I think he always gives the Lightning a chance. You look at there's a NHL Players Association poll, and it was like, what goalie would you want in the NHL playoffs? And 50% of the league voted for Andrei Vasilevsky. That's how clutch this guy is. He's just that type of caliber where you can always rely on him. But I think my takeaway from that game the last time they beat the Panthers is to get up on them early. This is a big offensive team, Florida. This is probably one of the best. I think this is their best season out of the last couple, where they've been very good offensively. And if you can come out with a 4-0 lead like you did in the last game, that puts so much pressure on the other team, where they have to change their game plan. They might get a little too aggressive, and then you can sneak even a couple more goals, some greasy goals, and build on top of that lead. So I think that's probably one of my biggest takeaways from that game. We'll get to more in some. I got some stats here, but looking back at that last game, I think that's one of the biggest things too, is getting on them early like you did.
Yeah, and the Lightning were able to get on them early, if I remember correctly, with some odd man rush goals. They were really, in the first period, they looked like the faster team. They were explosive. This was, newly Anthony Duclair, Sorelli, and Hagel had been moved around. They kind of been freed up a little bit, and They got on the rush and they scored a lot early. I know Esimont had kind of a rugged goal. I think it was Stamkos' rugged goal. So they weren't the prettiest goals, but they were, just nonstop pressure, odd man rushes, and they were capitalizing. And that's a huge, huge key to this series is when you get good chances, you're going to have to capitalize. There's just, quite frankly, I don't know if the Lightning will be able to maintain and have as many quality chances as the Panthers are going to have this series. I just don't know throughout the course of the game. I think the Panthers will, because of just the depth of their team and kind of the lack of depth the Lightning have, they might get more quality chances. But I do think the Lightning have the skill and the greatness to be more efficient with those chances. So I think that's something that we can look at in this game, and just it's a huge key for this series.
Yeah, so you bring up a great point there. You're on to something where the Lightning have to make the most of the opportunities. The Panthers, they're known for a lot of things this year, but one of the biggest things is they don't give up a lot of goals. They actually led the league this season in goals against with about 2.4 goals per game. That's really good. That means that the Lightning have to make the most of their opportunities when they get the chance. Can they generate those odd man rushes? Can they generate turnovers and keep the puck in the Panthers zone and make better chances? Because, again, Sergei Bobrovsky is a goalie for the Panthers. He had an incredible season this year. You got to make the most of your opportunities.
I completely agree. Another huge part of capitalizing opportunities is in the special teams, and that's the power play and the penalty kill. And when you look at the Panthers, I'll start with the kill for the Lightning. When you look at the Panthers actually had the last percentage of power play. They were last in the league in power play goal percentage. They score on 16.9% of power plays, last in the league. This is a weakness for the Panthers. If you're the Lightning, you've been able to kill off 81.7% of power plays this season. A strength, a really good job. Like we said, Brandon Hagel is a maniac on the PK. You cannot let the Panthers capitalize on their power play when it's a weak spot. You just can't let it happen. Mm-hmm. You have to be able to keep them off the board when you take a penalty. You have to be able to not feel like every time you take a penalty, it's going to be a goal, because then when you're playing 5-on-5, you're playing scared. You're playing, just not to your full abilities because you're scared of what will happen on the power play. So I think the penalty kill and the lack of success that the Panthers normally have, keeping that up for the Lightning is a huge key in this series.
I completely agree, and I think one of the biggest keys when it comes to killing any Florida power plays is stopping forward Sam Reinhart for the Florida Panthers. This season, the Panthers scored 63 power play goals. Sam Reinhart was responsible for 27 of them, so just about half. Just about half of their power play goals came from one guy. You can't leave this man open in the kill zones. Can't let him get in front of Vasilevsky. You got to keep somebody on him all times. Don't let him get free and give him opportunities to make some one-timers. You got to shut him down because he's been most of their offense on their power plays.
Yeah, if you're a Lightning fan, a good comparison for Reinhart is Steven Stamkos. Very similar. They use him very similar ways. Tkachuk and Alexander Barkov are going to be probing the ice, looking to set him up so he can just bury it. He's had a phenomenal season, the best of his young career. And like Will said, you have to be able to mark him. It's just like when opponents are playing the Lightning. On the power play, you got to be able to mark Steven Stamkos. You got to be able to mark Sam Reinhart. It's a huge thing. And on the flip side, the Lightning, they have a pretty potent power play. You just know the names on the power play. You know what you're going to give. They've converted on 18.2% of their power plays, so about a percentage point and a half more than the Panthers. And they actually the Panthers killed off the same percentage as the Lightning, 81.7%. So both have about equal penalty kills on the season, but the Lightning have a better power play. So it's key for the Lightning. You got to get some goals. Like we said, the opportunities may be slimmer than the Panthers' opportunities. So when you get on these power plays, you got to capitalize. You got to be able to find Stammer. You got to be able to get Cooch space. You got to be able to get the puck through the blue line. It's very important. Like we said, opportunities and converting opportunities is crucial. We cannot stress that enough. This is I don't want to say. I mean, it is. The Panthers, on paper, with the plethora of talent they have, they're better than the Lightning on paper. They really are, but it's hockey. It's not like basketball. The strategy matters. The defensive schemes matter. And quite frankly, goaltending matters. So while it might be an intimidating matchup on paper, the Lightning, all they have to do is just be a little bit more efficient, lean on their goaltending, kind of squeeze the Panthers, because the longer a series like this goes, when you're the underdog, when you're the team that's already won 2 Stanley Cups, the more stress and the more pressure goes on the Panthers, and the better chance it is for the Lightning to win.
I completely agree. I think the power play is super important. And I think, like, that's one thing where it's like, I know the Lightning are going to capitalize on the power play. You just know it's going to happen. That's one thing that this team has done so well forever, in my opinion. I mean, I'm not that old. I haven't seen every Lightning season, but I feel like for the longest time, you can always count on their power play. But that can't be your only source of offense. That cannot be the only way you guys get any momentum or score any goals. You have to be able to match them at even strength. You cannot hope for your next power play to get some offensive going, because we've seen this season in the 3 games they played, the Lightning were outscored 15-9, and they were outshot by a buttload. You got to be able to play at even strength, and you got to be able to steal, like I said, some greasy goals. You got to be able to get a couple on them, so where that power play is even more dangerous, because that can put you up by 2 or 3 goals at that point.
Yeah, and I think a huge key for what Will have mentioned is keeping up on 5-on-5 is the second line of defensemen. We know Hedman and Radish are a great duo. Victor Hedman is an all-time great defenseman. We know what we're going to get from him. In previous games against Florida, he's done a really good job shutting down the stars like Tkachuk, like Verhaeghe, like Barkov, all these people. Reinhart, he's been able to mark these guys and shut them down and be the all-time great defenseman that he is. And Darren Radish is a great pairing for him. However, the Panthers have 2 very, very good lines. One line consists of Barkov and Reinhart. The other line consists of Verhaeghe and Tkachuk. These are incredible. These are incredible forwards, and they're on 2 separate lines. That means the Panthers are going to have a considerable amount of talent on the ice at times that Victor Hedman's not going to be on the ice. He can't play the whole game. It's just not going to happen. I know playoff time on ice, it goes up. We're going to be seeing a lot of Victor Hedman, but he's not going to be able to be there the whole time. That's just how it is. So people like Matt Dumba, people like Tanner Jeannot, people like Nick Perbix, these guys have to play good hockey in this game. This is the biggest question mark for the Lightning all season, has been defenseman not named Victor Hedman. So the way these guys play is gonna really determine the series. Will we see lack of discipline and assignments on defense? Will they lose Reinhart in his office and quality scoring chances? Will they be loose with the puck, not be able to clear the zone? Or will they play solid hockey, block some shots, get scrappy, get the puck out, and just hold the fort until Victor Hedman comes in? That's what I'm looking for.
I think when we look back, what has been the biggest theme for the defensemen this entire year is sloppy turnovers and costly mistakes. If you want to win this series, you cannot let that happen. You cannot. And like you said, it can't just be relying on Victor Hedman and defense. You got, like, I mean, I just think of all these guys, Perbix, Chernak, these guys have to step up, and you cannot make silly mistakes. You cannot do it. We've seen it enough this season to where it's cost them way too many times. We cannot see it happen for the defense.
Yeah, and I mean, these guys have been around the block. I mean, Matt Dumba, he's been around places. I'm not really familiar with his whole career, but I'm sure he's got some playoff experience. We know Eric Chernak has playoff experience. He's been around for almost the whole Lightning ride. He's had a pretty lousy season in my mind, but he can turn it all around with a good playoff run. He really can. Tanner Jeannot was around last year. He's a wild card. He could be the person. Tanner Jeannot in this series could be the person that kind of flips it for the Lightning, because we know he has the talent. We know he has the talent, and he can match up with these Panther players, these forwards and centers. He has the speed, he has the size, he has the talent, but he sometimes gets reckless, and he sometimes disappears on the ice. So what type of Tanner Jeannot are we going to get is the question, because he really could be a wild card that really propels the Lightning in this series.
Yeah, I think he's a big one. I'm just looking at some of the stars here who, I mean, we know what Point's going to do, what Kucherov's going to do, what Stamkos is going to do. I think, like Tanner Jeannot and so many others, you cannot just rely on the big three to score. Somebody's got to step up and be able to make some plays. You cannot only rely on your top three guys and have no production throughout lines, 2, 3, and 4. Some of these guys have got to step up. I'm hoping, for me, we'll see Anthony Duclair break out playoffs. I can't remember. He was on the Florida Panthers last year. I don't know if he played in the playoffs. I don't think he did with them. But you got to think, this guy was wasting away in San Jose. He's got to be super excited to join a playoff team. And I'm hoping that gives him the spark and the energy to score a bunch of points. He scored 13 in just a short time with the Lightning since the trade deadline. So I'm hoping to see him turn up.
Yeah, for me, I think the unsung hero potentially of this series is going to be Brandon Hagel. I mean, he's having a career year. He's been, I mean, for a lot of the season, he was the second guy behind Kucherov. He was a lot of times outproducing Point and outproducing Stamkos. He's on that second line. He's with Cirelli and Stamkos. He's got to be the MVP of that line. We know he plays both sides of the ice. We know he has the ability to score and then also get back and play great defense. He's got to be able to do that. He's got to be a workhorse on that second line, and I think he can. I think he has all the potential to. He's skilled. He's tough. He seems like a guy who's playoff ready. I know he's already been through it with the Lightning a couple times. So he has the experience. He has the skill. I think Brandon Hagel is going to have a huge series, especially if the Lightning are going to go on and win this one.
You're reading my mind. You're reading my mind, because I think I just mentioned Duclair, but I truly think, with what you said, if the Lightning are going to win this series, it's going to be relying upon Brandon Hagel. He is a two-way player. He is phenomenal on the penalty kill, and we need to see him do it. Like we were talking about, we need to shut down that Panthers power play, and I think Hagel's the guy to do it. And then for somebody who can be a secondary scorer, someone who can support the main cast, that also needs to be Brandon Hagel. I would love to see him be the points leader, or at least be close to it next to Kucherov when we go deep into the playoffs. That's my hope and my dream. And so I think he's the biggest key. We need the offense and his great defense, and if he can do both, I think the Lightning have a great shot of winning the series.
Yeah, it's also important to mention the third-line players. I know the bigger boys, they get more time on the ice in the playoffs, but you're still getting plenty of third-line time in the playoffs. And this third line recently has consisted of Nick Paul, Mikey Eyssimont, and Connor Sheary, and it's been pretty effective. Nick Paul's had a really good last couple weeks of the season. He's been scoring goals left and right, it seems like. And Connor Sheary's actually been able to improve. He's kind of awoken in the last couple weeks. He was getting DNP's coach's decision, honestly. He wasn't getting playing time, and he's been slid into that third line. He's played really solid recently. He has experience. I don't know how much playoff time he got with the Capitals, but he's been around. He's not a rookie. He's been around. Mikey Esamon, I mean, he's already probably has plenty of playoff experience, even though he's a young player. So this third line is a big key. If we could just get, I mean, a couple goals in the series from this third line, that's just such a huge boost for this hockey team. So just keep an eye out, especially on Nick Paul. This guy, I mean, he was the MVP 2 years ago, Game 7 in Toronto. He won us that game.
Oh, yeah.
He's a playoff performer. He's a really good hockey player, so I would really keep your eye out on Nick Paul. He might be the X factor. He might be the player that you get 3 goals from in the series that you just didn't expect.
Yeah, man. For me, I don't got to worry about him. Nick Paul, I know he's going to play his game. I think I can't express to you enough. Like maybe, like we said at the beginning of the show, you're a casual fan. You love the Rays, you love the Bucks, you love USF, and you want to get more involved in Tampa Bay sports. Maybe you're not a big hockey guy, because some people aren't. In our world, I think every sport to me is just as important as the other. But
we can all appreciate the beauty in every sport.
Yeah, we can. Here at TB3, we love sports or sports fanatics, but I can understand for some people, hockey just might not be your thing. It's a Canadian sport. It might be weird. Canadians are weird. But I think it's awesome. And going back to my point here, like if you haven't watched a lot of Lightning hockey, Nick Paul, man, an underrated trade from last year throughout the entire NHL.
2 years ago.
Or 2 years ago, yeah, sorry. 2 years ago. I think anybody would have taken this guy if they would have realized how important he's been to the Tampa Bay Lightning. He's been their unsung hero so many times. He's just been solid. He gives his absolute all every single game. So yeah, he's fun to watch. He's a fun player, and I'm sure he's going to lead that third line really well. I'm looking at NHL projected lineups because we're talking about that. They think Mitchell Chafee will be on there instead of Connor Sheary.
Okay.
So we'll see how they switch up. This is just projected.
Yeah, they've switched around for sure. Mitchell Chafee's had his moments. He's a young player, but sometimes what you don't know helps you in playoff series. He might just come out on fire with nothing to lose because he's a young player. He's a rookie. He's only been up He's only been up in the majors in the NHL for a couple months. So I mean, he could just come out and make a huge impact and just give great energy in the time he's on the ice. So whoever's there, I just need to see quality time from either Sheary or Chafee, and that goes for that whole third line. If we can win those minutes, because I feel like even with the prowess of the Panthers' first line, with Tkachuk, with Barkov, whoever's up there, with Reinhart, I'm taking my top line over anyone. I'm taking Point and Cooch and Duclair, who's been up there, or maybe it's Hagel, or maybe it's Stamkos. I'm taking those guys over anyone in hockey. I know what I'm going to get from them. It's just the other lines that I question. It's the backline defensemen. It's stuff like that. But if we can win those matchups, the Lightning are going to be in a great spot.
I completely agree. Yeah, I think that, I said it earlier, and I'll just say it again. You can't just only rely on these guys. Somebody's got to step up. Somebody's got to step up. It cannot be just Cooch or just Stamkos or just Point. Somebody has got to step up with these guys.
Yeah, and I guess just to give some context, because you guys are probably like, if you're casuals, you're like, the Panthers, they can't be this good. But they really can be. I mean, the Panthers this year have a plus 69 net rating, which is 4th in the NHL. That's a mathematical equation to kind of just measure how good you are, just based on goals, defensive metrics, all that stuff. Comparatively, the Lightning have a plus 26 net rating, which is 13th. So that is a quick math, TB3 math podcast, 43 point net differential difference between the Panthers and Lightning. But that's just regular season hockey, baby. And then also, if you look at the regular season, the Panthers had a plus 32 goal differential, while the Lightning were at a negative 21 goal differential. So, like I said, on paper, this looks like an imbalance for the Panthers. But you got to drop the puck and you got to play. And we know what these Lightning players are capable in the playoffs. And another thing that's kind of pointing in the Lightning's favor is the Lightning are 13-5-2 in their last 20 games. and this is recently since they got their new team with the trade deadline, as opposed to the Panthers, who are 10-8-2. So the Lightning are the hotter team. They could have been even hotter. They really, this last week, they've definitely been resting, not going full hard because their spot was set. So the Lightning are the hotter team, but the Panthers are the better team on paper when you look at the series.
Well, you have to look at a little more recently as far as hotter teams. The Panthers are 5-1-1 in their last 7 games. So they're pretty hot too. They're pretty hot.
That's true. Yeah, I do think they had a little lull at the end of March, but they're hot. They jumped Boston to get that first spot. So they've been playing hard to get that number 1 in the Atlantic Division. Good for them. But I mean, there's just got to be a part of you in the back of your head that it's got to feel like the Lightning have a great shot in this. I know I'm a Lightning fan. You can call me biased, which I am, which is fair. But even if as a non-biased fan, as just a person who watches hockey, you just can't count these Lightning out. I mean, you just can't count the experience. They still, like I said, I've mentioned the Panthers are an uber talented team. That doesn't mean the Lightning aren't a talented team. I mean, we've seen it, especially since the trade deadline in the mixing and matching. The Lightning have weapons on all places in the ice. They have all-time great players. They have a great goalie, and they have plenty of talent to throw around in this series. So I'm not saying the Lightning aren't talented, but you just look at paper, you just don't know. It's a little bit of an imbalanced series. But the Lightning, you just have to feel. You got to feel the magic. You got to feel those.
Feel the thunder.
You got to feel the thunder. You got to feel that boat parade in the back of your head, saying, "It's time, baby. It's time for another boat parade."
Yeah, you can't ever count this team out. Like I look back to 2019 in the playoffs, right? I thought Lightning, they are going all the way, easy money, and they get swept. They get swept to the Columbus Blue Jackets. Totally just failure of a season. I was like, well, that's probably it. I probably won't see Stamkos hoist a cup. They'll probably have to rebuild at some point. And what do they do the next year? They win the cup. And everybody goes, it was a Mickey Mouse ring. It was COVID. It was a lockdown. They didn't really have to do a whole lot. They didn't have to travel. There's no fans. This and that. What do they do the year after that? They win the cup again. They win it again. And they go to a Stanley Cup the next year. And I know they lost, but that Avalanche team was so good, and the Lightning were going toe-to-toe with them. There were so many things here and there. There was an overtime game. I want to say game 1 went in overtime in that series.
I think.
Game 5 went into overtime. Like, it's a coin flip with those 2 games. And Lightning easily could have won that series, and it just didn't work out. And so when I always go, like, maybe the Lightning don't have it this year. Maybe they won't. They prove me wrong every single time because this is a championship squad. They got all the same guys. They got a great core and the best head coach in the NHL.
Yeah, and even you look at 2022, in the second round, they faced off against these same Panthers. The Panthers won the President's Trophy. They had the best record in the NHL. This was their time to take the torch and become Big Brother and finally beat off the big bad Lightning. And you know what happened in that series? The Brooms came out. They got swept by the Lightning. 4-0. They didn't win a game. So you can't count out these Lightning. You just can't do it. It would be stupid. And also, another thing to look out for in this series is Mikhail Sergachev. Mikhail Sergachev, he went down around the All-Star, just after the All-Star break, actually. He broke his foot, right? Foot or leg?
2 bones in his, I think both his leg bones.
Yeah, so broke his leg. And he's
pretty
been
brutal
skating.
injury.
Yeah, brutal injury. He says he still can't watch the injury. It's too much for him. But he's skating around. He was back at practice this last week. He was in a non-contact jersey, but he's skating. And, I mean, one thing about hockey players, again, if you're new to hockey, this is not baseball. This is not Brandon Lau swinging too hard and he's out for a month. These guys,
side hurts.
These guys will play through anything. So Mikhail Sergachev could very easily see time this series. I wouldn't bank on it. I wouldn't count on it. But that could be a nice boost to the depth of the defensive core. So another thing to look out for in this series is Sergey coming back.
There's a lot of injured guys that we won't see for Game 1. Sergachev being one of them. If I can go get my list here. Hayden Fleury, upper body injury. Jonas Johansson, lower body. Tyler Mott, Luke Glendenning. So, depending on how some
Mott
stuff
hurts. That sucks that Mott's hurt.
yeah, depending on how some stuff goes, I don't know with timetables for all these guys. Hockey's pretty. That's the thing with hockey. You can't really disclose a whole lot of injury stuff because it's that crazy of a league. Guys will look out for those injuries and try to make it worse. If you say, oh, I got a calf strain, you're gonna get a stick to your calf. They're gonna make it worse and try to take you out. So they're kind of what's the word? Vague with injuries when it comes to the NHL, so we don't know when a lot of these guys will come back. But depending on how it goes, hopefully we'll see a lot of them back and they can make impacts in this first series or beyond.
And speaking of coming back, I'm looking for a huge comeback series from Andrei Vasilevskiy. I'm looking at last year, first round against the Maple Leafs, an .899 save percentage for the Big Cat. That is just not the type of level that he's used to giving. And he's been rounding in the form. I mean, since the month of March has come, he's rounded in the form. He's been playing great hockey. Like we said, 47 saves in that game against the Panthers. Had a really great West Coast trip, which was kind of the trip that really put the Lightning on the map, I would say, for the playoffs this year. And I'm looking for a huge bounce-back series. But his opponent in the net is no slouch. I know Bobrovsky, he had a really good playoffs last year. He propelled them all the way to the Stanley Cup, and you have to have a hot goaltender to get the Stanley Cup. That's just how it works, and there's a lot of games that he single-handedly won for them in the Eastern Conference playoffs. Especially, I remember some of those Hurricane games. I mean, the chances that the Hurricanes were getting were way more than the Panthers, and the Panthers were still winning because of Bobrovsky. So this will be a really good matchup in the net, but Vazzy has to win this matchup in order for the Lightning to win. I'm looking for a huge series, like maybe 950 save percentage. I know that might be a lot to ask, but I really want to see Vazzy just shut the door on this series because that would be such a good story with all the things, injury, all the things going on in Russia with his poor performance last year. Would just be such a good story for Vazzy to have a great bounce back series, and there's nothing that tells me that can't happen.
Yeah, I got the most faith I could possibly have in Vasilevskiy. I know you look at last year, and I still consider a lot of that a fluke. I think more of it was just Lightning poor defensive play and not being able to close out games because I still look back at the series and I think we were better than Toronto. We definitely were, and we should have won that series. But it happens. You're not going to win it. You're not going to win every single game. And I think I'm really confident Vazzy is going to have a great playoffs. Just like I said, he can do stuff that other goalies can't. And save percentage, I'd love to see a good one too. But my thing is just, can he make the saves that nobody else can? 2-1, you're up 2-1, you're up 1-0, you're up by a goal in any scenario. Can he just make the saves to keep our leads alive? Can he lock down when the team's on an empty net trying to come back? Can he be lights out in overtime? That's the stuff I just want to see, but I know he can do it. I have the utmost faith in him.
I do too. Another thing I'm looking for in this series as we kind of start to wrap up and start headed towards predictions is kind of the flurry of goals. Both teams are capable of them. We've seen them from both teams throughout the season. Who is going to win this matchup of flurries, if you will? I mean, what I'm talking about is 2 goals in 2 minutes. Who's going to happen more? Who's going to get that big, 3-goal period in the second period to take control of a road game? When is that going to happen? Who's going to do it? Who's going to be in the center of it? It's just a huge, huge thing for me. I've seen the Lightning do it, but I've also seen the Lightning give up these massive flurries. It seems like, especially in the middle of the season, they weren't able to weather the storm at all. So just really looking for the Lightning to limit the Panther flurries and get a couple of these 4-goal periods, these 3-goal periods, these 2 goals in 5 minutes. Stuff like that is going to be huge.
I completely agree. Yeah, my thing is just I think I've said it from the start. Get on them early and close out the game. Close out the game. Don't let Don't let them send it to overtime where it's because we're with a next goal wins type situation. Close out the game, win in regulation, get a good enough lead to where you don't have to worry about them coming back in the third period. That's what I really need to see. I think it started. I think at the beginning of the year it was don't play so bad like you said in the first and second period where you're down 3-0 and going into the third and you have to claw all the way back. Don't get yourself in that situation. Now I think towards the end of the season it was more of don't hold on to that lead. Do not give up that lead that you create in the first and second period. So we've kind of seen a coin flip of either side. So I think for me it's holding on to these leads, win in regulation.
Yeah, and I think the Lightning over the last couple of weeks have done a really good job. We've seen numerous third-period shutouts when they had the lead. So just keep that up. Like Will said, with that one-goal lead in a third period, those are the tightest and most stressful minutes of your life. So, it seems like the clock is going at a snail's pace when you get the lead like that, and then it's going 5 times the speed when you're down. But keep those shutouts in the third period going. Maybe tack on some insurance goals for the heck of it, just to help our hearts in these playoff games. But yeah, just keep playing the type of hockey that the Lightning have been playing the last couple of weeks, and you have a really good shot. Mm-hmm. You really, really do.
Thrilling hockey is fun, but I do not want to see it for my team. No. I don't.
All the other games.
Win every game 5-0.
Mm-hmm.
Win every game 5-0. You don't have anything to worry about, Lightning.
And then last thing for me, looking for the series, is the Lightning cannot turn over the puck consistently. Like we said, one of those Panther losses, the first one in December, 11 giveaways. That's why they lost the game. If you can't clear the puck, you're not going to win. The Panthers, their coach Paul Maurice has focused on their forecheck this season. They've gotten players in the offseason. He's switched lines so that their forecheck is much better than it was before. And this has helped them, create a lot of scoring chances. The Lightning can't be a part of this. They can't be giving the puck away in dangerous spots, or the Panthers are going to capitalize. So, gotta be careful with the puck. Got to be able to clear the puck out of the zone after long shifts. And these are the little things that are going to win the Lightning hockey games and win them the series.
Mm-hmm. When are the Lightning playing? I think everybody wants to know when's the first game.
The first game is on Sunday, April 21st. So I know a lot of you guys are going to church, and we have entertainment for you right after church because this game is at 12:30 p.m. It's going to be away in Sunrise, Florida, a Sunday afternoon game, and the Lightning are going to play. That's game one, April 21st, 12:30 p.m. Watch it after church.
Get to the early service if you got 2 services at your church.
Or
get to the early one.
A little look into our lives is we watch a lot of games at our church in a little room. So we're not even going to leave. I'm just going to stay right here and get on the couch and watch the Lightning play, and then maybe go get some food and the first intermission. Mm. That's my plan.
Oh, that's dangerous, dude. It takes too long,
12. I guess if you get moving, but 12:30 is a little early. Like it was even hard to get 1 p.m. Like get the food and get back for Bucks.
That's what
games.
I'm saying. So
12:30 is early, but
DoorDash.
Yeah, maybe Wingstop's right around the corner.
That's how I was late to the Bucks game that one time. Because I
ordered
the Wingstop, I missed like the whole first quarter.
You gotta order online and then meet them there. That's the move. Mm-hmm. Sponsor is Wingstop.
Yes,
all right,
please.
Are we ready to predict?
Yeah, I think we're ready to go.
Unfortunately, Joel's in Africa, and we did not get his prediction because when he left, the series wasn't set. I don't think so. We don't know what Joel thinks. Maybe I don't know. He's probably thinking something for sure. He has thoughts.
Joel's gonna say
he's gonna say Lightning in 6. He was gonna pick the Lightning for sure. He loves the Lightning.
Because we joke about it on the show if you listen like that. He's Mr. Negative, but there's something about the Lightning. That they could do no wrong in his eyes. I think it's so funny where it's like the Bucks need to rebuild, fire Todd Bowles, this and that. The Rays sell the team. The Rays stink. Their bullpen's terrible. But like it's the Lightning. It's like, Wow, they're perfect.
I think how it goes is me and Will are pretty like neutral on the Lightning. We're up and down with the team. I think I'm pretty hard on the Bucks. Like I'm pretty like season's over when a bad things happen. I definitely was on the Fire Todd Bowles train in the middle of the season, and Will's pretty high on the Bucks. And Joel's also low on the Bucks, and Joel's high on the Lightning. And then when it goes to Rays season, I'm high on the Rays, and Joel and Will are low on the Rays. So that's what it is.
I came in high. I just get. Yes, I did come in high. I said they'd go 101-52.
Oh, true.
I just get impatient, man. I hate losing, and it's like because I feel like with the time, I think it is all the pitch clock because the game's so short, and you get like such a snippet of baseball now. It feels so much shorter. And it's like, they lose and you just are like, I just got a bad taste in my mouth.
Or when you blow a save.
Yeah, and
that's
just
a bad
stuff like
taste
that.
in your
And it's
mouth.
like, too short, like the game's over. And
my glorious handsome king, Josh Lowe's coming back soon.
Yeah, well, his first rehab game got rain delayed.
That's all right.
You're just like,
and then
we're cursed.
My Mexicano, Jonathan Arando's coming back too.
Yeah, well, he better come back with the revenge.
Yes. Yes, but we're going to predict the Lightning games. Joel, we're just going to say Joel would say Lightning in 6. Yeah. I think that's a fair assessment. But we're not quoting him. We really don't know. It was just a busy week for him. We didn't get his Lightning prediction. But it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Will, do you want to start or you want me to start?
Yeah, well, we're saying, are we all setting who we think is going to score the most goals in the series? I think Joel would say Anthony Cirelli.
Okay.
I think he would.
And I think I'm going to say Brandon Hagel. We were talking about Brandon Hagel. Cooch is going to set him up. Brandon Hagel is going to bury him.
Give me. I want to say Declare.
All right.
I want to say Declare.
I thought you were going Nick Paul there.
I don't know.
No, I don't want to talk you out of it. Anthony Declare.
Give me Declare. Give me Declare. He's so excited to get to the playoffs.
Kodak Black's going to be so, like,
he's
going to be flabbergasted that there's a black dude playing hockey. He's not going to know.
He's going to be watching on his couch because he's banned from Sunrise.
Don't do what Kodak Black did at the NHL game. There's kids there.
That was so crazy. Don't watch the video if you're curious.
Don't do it. Don't look it up. Just
family
know it's
friendly.
Bad. Yeah, we're family friendly.
It's not family friendly.
It's not at all.
Yeah.
All right, I'll do it. I'm going to agree with Joel because I think the Lightning are going to win this game in 6. I think they're going to come out. I think they're going to get a big win, game 1. I think they're going to set the tone on Sunday, get a big win on the road, and then they're going to finish it out in front of the home fans in Amalie Arena in game 6. I think the top line is going to be the better line. Nikita Kucherov is going to be the best player on the ice, and Andrei Vasilevsky is going to have a revenge series. I just don't see him not doing it. He's the best goalie on earth, and I think he's going to carry us to a win. I think Nick Paul is going to be sneaky, and Brandon Hagel is going to have a monstrous series. The Lightning will win this in 6 games.
Whew. Yeah, I'm getting fired up. I'm so fired up for this. I'm just gonna start off with a little thing, right? Because you might be sitting here listening. You might be listening to this tomorrow at work, on the way to work, school, at the gym. No matter where you are, you might be listening. You might be thinking, man, I'm scared of the Panthers. I'm scared. They were good all season. This team went to the Stanley Cup last year. They're good. What are you guys talking about? What are you going on about? Well, let me tell you this. There was one team the Panthers didn't have to play on the way to the Cup. They didn't have to see them. And that was the Tampa Bay Lightning. Because let me tell you, 2 years ago, 2021, Panthers play the Lightning. Sunshine Showdown, Lightning win in 6. The next year, the Lightning sweep them. And it's funny, the very same year, the Lightning don't play the Panthers in the playoffs. The Panthers go all the way. Well, now guess what? You have your worst fear, Florida Panthers. You have to face Big Brother. You're thinking about the past. You're very scared. You don't want to have history repeat itself. You don't want to get swept, but it's going to happen. You're not going to get swept, but you're going to lose in 7 games. You're going to lose in 7 games to the Lightning. because when you get here to Tampa, you're going to be messing around at Space Odyssey and at the clubs like you did in the last series and embarrass yourselves and play bad. The Lightning win in 7.
Let's go. Friendly reminder, Game 1, Sunday, 12:30. Game times for the rest of the series will be announced. I don't know why they're not announced right now, but it's whatever. We'll figure them out. We will be posting a lot. We'll be doing as much as we can for every game. We know for sure, Sunday night, we are going to record after Game 1, and we're going to give you all your Rays content you've been begging for. Monday morning, we will have an episode, so be on the lookout for that. Monday morning, you will have episode 35 of TB3's Sports Talk. If you guys need updates, follow us on Instagram at TB3 Sports Talk. Bunch of stuff going on there, pumping out content. The support and following has been amazing. You guys rock. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Follow us on Twitter. We're posting that. You're going to get live updates in the game for Twitter. You're not getting that anywhere else. Will's on the spot. I like
sometimes just me ranting on there.
Yes, it is him ranting. I love every once in a while. I just go on Twitter and I see old ones and I love looking at them. It's so funny.
Sometimes I don't get too professional on there. I just I'll just say like the season's over every time the Rays give.
It's okay. We need that. That's how we catch people. Yeah, he's giving updates. And if you're listening on YouTube, hopefully this is on YouTube. Subscribe, like the video, comment what you think, who's winning this series, and in how many games. That's what we want you to comment. If you're on Spotify, hit the follow button, hit the 5 stars, share it with a friend. If you know a Lightning fan that's looking for something to listen to, share the podcast with them. And
I got one thing before we go, actually. I got one fun thing before we go, and this is a giveaway. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're listening. So, Colby, you're going to play this game too. Okay? Because this is hockey. I want to bring it up. All right. I'm going to ask you guys a question. I'm going to ask you the question.
Yeah.
So, there have been 3 players in NHL history to have scored 40 goals and recorded 100 assists in a single season. One of them is Nikita Kucherov. I'll give you that because it's Lightning related. So I'll give you time to guess while I say this. But if you're listening, pause the video. I don't know if they do it on Spotify, but YouTube, I think they do timestamps on the video.
Yeah, we have timestamps.
They have
on
Spotify.
Spotify.
When people comment.
Oh, you can't comment on
You
Spotify.
might have to donate like 50 cents to do like a comment because I think it keeps a timestamp on there. Give us like a penny. So, and I'll look at the timestamps before I give the answer because you can't do it after. But if somebody does that, okay, and gives the correct answer with the timestamp, no cheating, I'll give you a little Lightning prize. Might be a T-shirt, might be a hat,
okay,
might be a puck, might be a jersey.
So am I saying the answer or am I commenting?
Just give me your 2 guesses.
What if I comment it under the YouTube video?
I can't give it. Okay. I can't give it to you.
No. I'm just saying like my 2 guesses. I'm gonna say.
Who are the other 2 players?
Yeah.
With Nikita Kucherov to score 40 goals and 100 assists.
I'm gonna say Jaromir Jagr and Sidney Crosby.
Wrong for both.
Dang.
One's easy.
Is it McDavid?
No. Same team though.
Is it Gretzky?
Yes.
Really? I didn't think he was gonna have 100 assists. I thought he was a goal scorer, man.
I think he's done it like 3.
Yeah.
You think he's done it like 2 times?
Okay,
actually.
never mind. That's on me. That was
so
dumb.
Wayne Gretzky, Nikita Kucherov. Who's the last one?
Mark Messier.
Final answer.
Is it him?
It's Mario Lemieux.
Oh, dude.
All right. So whenever that is in the video, if you commented Mario Lemieux, Wayne Gretzky, I'll check it and I'll send you a gift. All you got to do is donate like a penny under the YouTube.
All right. You guys heard that. Comment with the timestamp. I don't know if you have to do the penny thing, but we'll figure it out. Comment your answers, and you might get a shirt or a hat. And watch the Lightning, cheer them on, go to some home games, and have a good night, guys. See you next time.
Go Bulls.